get out of here. Come with me. Have you been hit? I'm all out of ammo. You know what? Actually, it's a little bit uncomfortable down here, isn't it? Like, I know we're hiding out from the bad guys down here in the boiler room, but this isn't gonna work for me. Let's go somewhere else. Plus, I want a cream soda. Let's go. That's better. Okay, so White House Down. Actually, I don't need this anymore. It's not real anyway. So White House Down is the latest proof that Hollywood always duplicates itself. Every few years, you have two movies that are exactly the same. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll show you. Now that's no coincidence, I assure you. White House Down is the latest trend in Hollywood where they piggyback off each other and do the exact same movie, put out the exact same year. So anyway, White House Down follows the story of Channing Tatum's character who plays this DC cop who's an escort for the Speaker of the House. His dream and his goal, his passion in life is to become one of the Secret Service agents working for the president. That synopsis also reminds me of another movie called First Kid, starring Sinbad. It came out in the mid-1990s. So in the movie, he gets a couple tickets to the White House tour or something, and he takes his annoying little daughter along with him. Anyway, while Channing Tatum's at the White House, he's also there for a job interview. Yeah, he just happened to have a job interview and he took his daughter along with him for a Secret Service job. Probably not the best time to bring your daughter along with you. And then the shit hits the fan. The bad guys attack the White House. Things start going wrong. There's a lot of twists and turns. Pretty much all the same twists and turns you had in Olympus Has Fallen. But in this movie, it just takes longer to get through them and they're not as interesting because Olympus Has Fallen was at least rated R and this movie's PG-13. Don't get me wrong, I love over-the-top action movies. 1980s, 1990s. Definition of pure testosterone badass action movies. And this movie really does try to capitalize and become a little bit reminiscent in some of those qualities. You know, some of the witty one-liners, except in this movie they're not witty, they're just bland, you don't remember any of them. So in the first 20 or 30 minutes of this movie, you really get to know Channing Tatum's character, and I don't hate the guy as an actor. You know, I've actually come to like him over the last year or so. I used to hate him, but then I was like, I can bear the guy. But his daughter in this movie, that little girl is unbearable. At times I wanted to kill myself. Actually, I forgot I'm out of ammo. And by the way, at the end of this movie, she has one scene where I was just like, oh my god, please tell me they're not doing that. Yep, they did it. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, some of the lines and dialogue in this movie were just so poorly written. They came across like a really bad TV action sitcom show that was like aired for 2 episodes and it was canceled. There's one scene in this movie where Jamie Foxx calls his wife, and it's the most awkward conversation, and you can tell that they're just setting this little thing up to happen at the end of the movie. Here's what happens. She's like, hi honey, do you still have the Lincoln watch that you keep in your pocket all the time? Yeah, I sure do, honey. Okay, I love you, bye. Why would she, what was that about? Oh, that's right, you're setting up that little watch to be in his pocket so when he gets shot at the end of the movie, that's what saves his life. This movie just has so many unoriginal cliches going on in it, and I'm all for cliches if they're like really cool and they pay tribute to a movie that did them before and it's, you can get a good laugh at it, but everything they kind of copy and duplicate in this movie, it's just so bland. There's also one scene in the movie that just keeps going and going a little bit too long. It's when they're having a chase sequence out in the front lawn of the White House, and Jamie Foxx and Channing Tatum are in the president's limousine, and there's a couple SUVs with bad guys in it following them. Now keep in mind, here's the White House lawn. On the other side of the fence, there's an entire army, there's a military force, there's tanks, everyone's standing there watching this happen. And at one point, Jamie Foxx leans out of the window of the limousine with a rocket launcher, and everyone's watching this happen. And they're like, what do we do? What do we do? And the president's right here, literally 10 feet away from you, and no one in the entire military force is doing anything about it. They're just sitting there watching. Yeah, throughout this entire movie, the military does not do anything to help any situation. Everyone just stands around watching. And even in some situations, all the bad guys are literally standing outside of the White House, just standing there talking. And it's like, why isn't the White House surrounded by snipers and military personnel? Now, this is a Roland Emmerich movie, and sometimes you can really see it. I love some of the movies that Roland Emmerich has done. You know, Independence Day, The Patriot. And by the way, speaking of the Independence Day, that movie had better special effects than this movie, and it came out in 1996, if that says anything. Okay, let me quickly talk about the ending of this movie, because I just have to get this out. Jamie Foxx's character is injured. He's gushing blood. He's laying down in one of the tunnels underneath the White House. Channing Tatum's character goes back in to fight the bad guys and get his daughter. At this point, he finds out that there's going to be an airstrike on the White House by the newly empowered president. Yeah, that's right. They go through like 3 presidents in this movie. He has 8 minutes before this airstrike to go in and find his daughter. So here's what happens. About 15 minutes later in the movie, he has 4 minutes left on the clock. And then another 10 minutes later, he has about 1 minute left. Yeah, so Channing Tatum kills the bad guy. And then right before the airstrike is about to blow up the White House, his daughter, his little 9-year-old daughter, takes a flag and runs in the front yard of the White House, and she's waving the flag. Don't do it. Kind of like in the movie The Rock, where Nicolas Cage puts a needle in his heart and puts the flares out. On the main bad guy, Channing Tatum finds a pager, and he calls the pager number back at the end of the movie when everyone's standing outside in front of the White House. And at this point, the military still hasn't come in the White House to actually secure the area or save anybody. They're just still standing idly by. Anyway, Channing Tatum calls the number on the pager, and when he's calling it, everyone's standing around, and it rings to the now president. I didn't do anything. It wasn't me. I didn't do anything. And they're like, yep, it was you. Okay, at this point in the movie, Jamie Foxx comes staggering out of the White House. Actually, he's not really injured anymore. They just jump into a helicopter, and they go on this little scenic tour of Washington, D.C. You know, he doesn't get in the back of an EMS because he was just gushing blood out of his, his body. They just get in a helicopter ride and look at the Washington Monument. That's White House down. Okay guys, so here's my question to you. Which movie did you like more, Olympus Has Fallen or White House Down? Or let me know what your favorite movie action franchise of all time is. My name's John, this is the Flick Pick channel, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and check out my last video. I'm gonna go save the day. I'll see you guys later.